The Supreme Court is obviously not here to work for the American people. The Supreme Court is not here to serve our democracy or our Constitution. The Supreme Court is here to serve oligarchs. They're here to serve billionaires. They're here to serve large corporations. They're here to serve white supremacy and white patriarchy and nativism. Their decision to strike down Joe Biden's student debt cancellation policy is strictly political, and it does exactly what we have all seen them doing over the last several months. They want to take away our civil rights. They want to take away our voting rights, our human rights, women's rights. They want to make our country more dangerous by expanding concealed carry permits. They don't want black people to be educated. That's why they banned universities' ability to use race in admissions decisions. They are taking lavish trips with...
Yes, welcome back. Representative Bowen has a meltdown on TikTok of a Supreme Court ruling. Says Supreme Court is illegitimate and they are only there to save white supremacy and white patriarchy, and they don't want black people to be educated. I have seen a lot of people, Michelle Obama, melting down like never before.
Advocates against affirmative action. He's also a member of the board for Students for Fair Admissions. That's the group that brought this case against Harvard and the University of North Carolina. Kenny, thank you for joining us. So today's ruling obviously is one that you were hoping for, arguing that the rules in place that support affirmative action were unfair to Asian Americans. So from a practical perspective, how does today's decision help Asian American students looking to get into elite colleges?
I just want to say I'm ecstatic about this decision.
It
means that Asian Americans can finally get treated on their merits. Guys, we know why Asian Americans should get into Harvard at disproportionate rates. It's because they study twice as many hours as the average American. It's not because of their race. It's because of their culture. It's because of their family values. Academic excellence, that should be prioritized. Those should be the values that schools like Harvard and Chapel Hill, supposedly elite schools and academic programs, should be valuing in an applicant, not race.
So you've argued also that Harvard and other colleges should get rid of their legacy admissions, which also gives people points for having a parent that went to that school. That's not happening here. I wonder why not challenge that, which is also presumptively an obstacle for Asian Americans being treated fairly in the admissions process.
Well, I hope you followed the case, but Students for Fair Admissions has challenged legacy admissions repeatedly over and over again. In fact, we argued that the way that Harvard could implement some of their diversity policies without discriminating against Asian Americans is to get rid of legacy admissions, which, as you know, disproportionately privilege white applicants. In fact, 33% of Harvard students who are white are legacy, and they have a 5 times more likely chance of getting in if you are legacy.
Yes, I couldn't even continue, to watch the video. He said it all. Facts. Educating this liberal woman, sometimes on this topic be the best thing I like to see. This should not be based on race. It should be based on merit. I don't know why this was so agitated with this issue of racism. Some people, see it normal, because it benefits a particular group of people. Now, when you want to talk of merit, people should go in some of these places based on how they are able, to fight for merit. Should be the top priority. They should not prioritize some kind of issues like race, this, that, to enroll people into some of these prestigious schools. This has been a major problem. But when you want to talk, people that are so obsessed with race will look at you like you are insane. I'm glad this is happening on CNN.
Billionaires and taking gifts from billionaires and allowing billionaires to pay their tuition to their children's schools. The Supreme Court is illegitimate. It is corrupt. It needs reform, expansion, ethics reform, term limits. And we need complete democracy reform at every level of government. But none of this happens if we don't have 100% of the American people voting in every single election next year. For president, for senate, for house, and all the local elections. We don't got time to complain and whine and stay home and say it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for you or us because we're all not exercising our power. This Supreme Court is an extremist right-wing court. Donald Trump selected 3 Supreme Court justices. Voting matters. Mitch McConnell did not allow President Obama to appoint someone to the Supreme Court. Voting matters. We do not have George Floyd justice in policing. We cannot codify Roe v. Wade. We can't do anything on gun reform because we do not have the right people in office. There are 33 Senate seats up for grabs. We need transformational legislative change in our country. We need a new constitutional convention that includes all people, women, people of color, LGBTQ, everyone, not just white patriarch oligarchs. You want to transform and change our country? We got to do it together starting right now. Save the country, save democracy, save the planet, save the world. That's the mission, and it's going to take all of us. Peace.
Hillary Clinton tweeted this recently. The Supreme Court recent rulings were sadly predictable for anyone who understands the right agenda. Their goal has always been to install justice whose job is to turn back the clock of our freedom on decades of constitutional decisions and on our continuing struggle to form a more perfect union that includes all of us. Let's vote out their political enablers and run in the dark subversive money that support them in their quest to reverse a century of progress. That is Hillary Clinton talking. This issue clearly tells you how Democrats are angry partaking to what the Supreme Court recently did. It is actually shocking. Candace Wen actually blew up on Michelle Obama struggling to eliminate this issue of racism. I don't see why people are so obsessed with it.
The Supreme Court has upset a 45-year precedent, ruling it unconstitutional for universities to consider race in admissions. Now, the 14th Amendment is supposed to promise equal protection. But if everyone was actually treated equally, we wouldn't have had to put in affirmative action.